Alright, welcome to the next lesson in Maya. This is going to flow into a work series of human anatomy and human craziness. Alright, so basically the complete breakdown of the human skull, just different parts of the human. I'm not going to say I'm going to do the entire human. I'm just going to say that I'm going to do some of the major key points of the human. Because that way if I choose to not do it and everybody's like, oh man, you should have done the whole human, and I would say, well, anyway. So, the first lesson is the head. Okay? And I know what you're saying. Oh, he's got image planes in here. Alright, what's that going to teach you? Well, I'm going to show you how to do this without this. But I need this in order to show you that first. If that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to build the human shape of the head out of your memory without relying on any kind of reference whatsoever. Alright, so the shape of it. And that's how I'm going to kind of treat this series, is how do you get the shape of things. And these are very primitive shapes. I want to keep them that way just because if you get them too complex, you kind of lose that train of thought that you have in order to build that shape very easily and very quickly if you get too many verses in there. So very basic shapes, very low poly stuff until we get our feet wet with human anatomy. That's how it's going to go. Alright, so on to the lesson. Alright, to do this, to show you what I mean by showing you the human skull and its shape, I guess I'm just going to have to do one of these real quickly in front of you. Okay, I'll delete this. Kind of put this up here. And I'll do one, then show you how I did it. How's that? Put this up here so you know I'm not cheating. Okay, so there we go. That's what I'm going to show you. How did I come up with this shape? And here is, if I just kind of put this in the center, no David Copper tricks, no nothing, visual math. The only thing I was a little off on was the jaw structure, and that's because there's a very complex formula for that. But other than that, it's pretty freaking close. I'll know next time, just a little skosh more than what I thought. And I'm, yeah, again, human, not skull. So, yeah, that works out pretty good. Alright, this is how I did it. Here's the steps. Okay, so I took a box and I made it big. I chose a number that I know the height of this skull is, just because I want to make sure I can line it up and make sure I got everything going, you know, at the very end like I just did. Okay, polycube. So that height of this skull is actually 50. 50, 50, and 50. Do not scale it. Got to type in the numbers. Again, that's under the attribute channel editor, under Polycube 3 or Polycube 2, Polycube 1, whatever Polycube you got out there. And this time I'm going to put this right over on top of my face again, and do it step by step. So align this box here. There we go. And last but not least, under Polycube, there we go, Polycube, we want this divisible by 4, 4, and 2. Okay, why is that? Just one of those things with it's divisible this way evenly. If it's 50, half of 50 is 25. Alright, and we want to be able to have the simple quadrants. So here is my 4 quadrants. Quadrant, 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 quadrant. Okay, and we have to be able to visually divide these in our head. It's kind of like drawing. I mean, really, if you get this down enough times, then to go to pick up a piece of paper and a pencil, guarantee you'll be able to draw a skull. It's not that hard. Okay, so first point, first quadrant. Okay, if I take this rectangle, divide it in half. So divide here, I get a square, and in that square, in the center of it, is where this vertex goes. If I take these 2 points and divide those in half, that's where this goes. This is that complex formula I was going to show you, but it's off a little bit on this picture. I don't know if the picture's wrong, or I know the formula's right, but I don't think this picture is. And I'm not going to blame it, but if you could just watch this. If I take this square, divide it, divide that, divide that, that is where my skull, my jawbone, should be. So it's just a little off, not by much. Okay, so this vertex goes about right in that region. Right there. And this one, since it's such a low poly, I'm going to put that right here just adjacent to it. Just right across from it. Next, how I got this right here, same thing. If I divide here, then get the center of that right there. This one's a little trickier. If I take here and divide, and I'm just going to use these lines to kind of show you. Alright, in the center of this line right here is where this goes. If I divide this in half, that's where that goes. I know for a fact that skulls are not perfectly sharp, so I just moved that in a little bit. And this is kind of what it looks like with the skin on the skull. So I'm not going to go too much into this part. This area right here, however, I guess I'll do that at the very end. Okay, how do I get the width? Okay, so if I take 50, okay, I got 50 right now. Let me make sure this isn't going to blow up. Okay, good. Alright, so 50. I need 2/3 of 50. So the height of a man's head, or a woman's head for that matter, if you find 2/3 of it is actually the width of. So here, the height is 50, right? Divided by 3, because I want 1/3 of that, equals 16.6. So rounded up is 16.7. So 16.7 times 2 equals 33.4. Try it out. 33.4. Yeah, pretty dead on, huh? Alright. To get to the rest of the skull, the front view. You see me, I was zooming around in here a lot. Okay, all I need is basically these vertexes right here. And what I'm going to do is move them into 1/2 of the square. Just like so. Now to do this easier, let's undo that. What I usually do is just grab the vertexes here and scale them all at once into the middle. Okay, then I'll take these and then move them into 1/2. Just like that. So the breakdown of what the skull looks like, very low poly. That's all you need, it's that shape. Now another couple things maybe I'll do is round this up a little bit so it's not so harsh. Same with this point right here, I'll just round all this stuff up. Another thing I like to do is grab the temporal one right in this region and take that and move it 1/2 in. So right there. I'll push up on my keyboard and make a parallel straight line. So from here to here. Notice it's getting that nice shape of the skull. This right here, if I take, it's really hard to kind of show you this because there's so much stuff that has been off, not off, but you know, I moved it around so I don't have my squares anymore. It's not like drawing. Okay, this point right here, usually if I take this right here and half that, and I'll move it right across the road from it, and then I'll just soften up this curve. Okay, so let's do it up here. Oh, I already did it up there. Okay, and last but not least, insert edge loop tool here. I'll grab this vertex and move it just a skosh. Now I can get the idea of things. Okay, if I know that this is going to be the bottom part of my brow, with this being the very, very top of the brow, and here, I know now that to round this up a little bit. So this goes here, just making a nice round border. So that's where you see me at the very end when I was tweaking the various attributes of it. Same with here. I'll take this and make it a nice sweep. And just round off anything else. No. Oh, yep, right here. Just round that up. There we go. Got our head. Very, very low poly. But still, very, very accurate on the layout of it. So that's what I want you to do for the lesson, is memorize that. Memorize all the visual capability, all the landmarks, the major landmarks of the human head, and how you can actually use those to form geometry. Because here, this is the hardest part, is to get kind of like that skull region. Once you get the skull down, everything kind of just a little bit falls into place, because that skull really does say a lot about the character. How much weight is there behind him? What kind of character is he? Is his head bigger than his body? Oh, that reminds me. Another thing you should look out for. There's 3 major heights of the side of the human head. Okay, height 1 is the most prominent height. The second prominent is this one. And the third is right there. So once you know those 3 heights, you know if this one falls out, this one's way out here. If I look at my side view, okay, this is the skull. And I can round that up too now that I know it's way out there. Here's my cheek. And then all other points fall directly in back of the cheek. Okay. Alright, so that's it. Enjoy the lesson. When you're done with it, when you make a couple heads, just kind of produce a couple of those and turn them into me and enjoy. Okay, so give credit where credit is due. The Structure of Man blogspot. And if you type this name into Google, Riven Phoenix, not River Phoenix, but Riven Phoenix, you'll get his entire collection of the Human Breakdown. He goes into every scientific formula, every muscle, every bone, everything. So what I just kind of showed you is a way to kind of translate that video, that series, that understanding to 3D world. So you can use verses instead of drawing with a pencil and all that good stuff. So just know that, you know, if you want the entire breakdown, this guy did a good job of it.